Hey guys, Varanice here with another tier list video. Today we're going to be doing legendary items in Season 14. So if you're watching this video, I recommend that you check out my video on the epic items because all of them build into this and kind of influences to some degree where these items get placed. But for now we'll start with Axe. I believe this is called Axe of Fury. Some people call it Big Cleave. It builds from Shadow Edge. I think this item is pretty decent. It's like super broken on Spacewalker because of how it kind of shotguns with his ultimate slam. But in general, I think this item is pretty average when compared to a lot of the other legendary items on this list. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into B. Up next, we got Barbaric Curaiss, or AC. This item builds from Mega Armor and a Wraith Shard. And it gives you a really powerful aura. Gives everything on your team additional armor and additional attack speed. And it reduces enemy armor and enemy attack speed in a penalty aura. I think this item is really good. The numbers on it look really small, but I think they're all deceptively strong, scale really well, and this item can very often snowball fights really, really hard. For me, I think this item is pretty easily S tier. I think it's very, very good. Next, we've got Claw Wand, or MKB. This item gives a unit full magic resistance and stun immunity for, I think it's 9 seconds. They've changed the numbers a couple of times. It might be 8. It's like 8 or 9 seconds. This item's super good. It's definitely a tech item, so you don't always need this, but when you need it, it's super clutch. It helps keep your carry alive against things like 9 Mage and like different stuns that you'll encounter. Immune to Devourer ult. Yep, that's another good point as well, yeah. That's definitely super useful when you're like in the previous Div Cave meta. Came up a lot. Very useful. I think for me, I'm gonna put this in A tier for now. We'll see if it needs moved later. Next we've got I think they renamed this item to Conqueror's Armor, but this is Jade Pipe, or like upgraded anti-mage cloak. I think it's called Conqueror's Armor, but it gives you a big bubble that prevents magic damage. It's and a bunch of magic resistance. I don't think it's great, but it's okay. It's definitely a very situational item. I think for me, this either goes into like the top of D or the bottom of C. I think for now I'll put it into D. Nah, I'll put it into C for now. See if we want to move it later. We've got this item is called Crimson Heart, I think. One of the newer items. And it gives your unit a chance to do a big AoE that does a bunch of physical damage and provides lifesteal back to the unit that has it equipped. I think it's like a 50% proc chance or something on a pretty short cooldown. It's pretty good for helping sustain very tanky units when they're trying to like 1v8 or whatever. That being said, I don't think it's like super critical. I do think it's a solid item, but the base item that it builds from also isn't too great. I think for me, I'm going to put this into like the bottom of B tier. Next we've got Dragonbone Ballista, or Big Crit, or Big Sword. It builds from Crystal Sword, which is the double sword item. Gives you a really big crit, and you hit really hard. That being said, it's kind of just a big stat item. I think this item's a little bit underrated. I think for me, I would put this just above Cleave. Like I said earlier, I definitely would put Cleave higher if we're like just evaluating like items on a spacewalker, but I think in general, actually, I think I would prefer Big Crit. Next we have the upgraded teleport dagger. Or wait, no, this is the yeah, this is the upgraded blink dagger. I think this item's a little bit underrated. It does give faster mana than teleport dagger, and it also gives the reflect. Or sorry, yeah, flicker, yeah. And it does give the Thorns effect from Thorn Predator or Blade Mail, if you remember that old item, which I think it can have some interesting strategic ideas, but it definitely has pretty niche applications, though it's definitely got some uses. I think I'll put it into C just because of that. Next we got Halberd of Judgement. It's the upgraded halberd. It disarms the highest attack unit for, I think, 8 seconds. So they can't attack for 8 seconds. It's pretty useful, but my main criticism with it is that it uses Blood Axe to upgrade it. And the upgraded effect isn't that significantly better than a regular halberd. So I think for me, I'm gonna put this in a D. The heck did I walk into? Wise Claw Wand A. Do you think it should be lower or higher? We've got Heart of Terrasque. Heart of Terrasque gives a bunch of lifesteal and magic resistance. This item is one of the best items for Cave Divinity versus Demons. It's one of the only ways they can possibly beat Road Guard Flicker. That is true, but Cave Divinity versus Cave Demons is not nearly as prevalent in the current metagame as it used to be. I do completely agree, but I feel like that is like a pretty niche application. So you are completely correct. Heart, I think, kinda just isn't good. It conflicts with the, I don't remember what the name of the component is. It's the component that gives like spell lifesteal that also builds into ice armor, and I think pretty much every situation I can possibly think of, you would rather build ice armor. And Puppet Mask is also pretty good. It only improves on that by like 30% or something. Well, 30% is in like 15 to 20. I think for me, this item goes in a D. I don't think it's that good. I like lifesteal quite a lot on my carries, but I don't think upgrading to the heart from the Puppet Mask is worth it that often. Up next, we've got Heaven's Gift. Heaven's Gift used to be one of the strongest items in the game, but I don't think it's that great right now. It gives your team a percentage-based barrier, or a percentage health-based barrier that mitigates some damage and gives some armor. I build this item like sometimes in late game if I just get stuck with a bunch of stuff from like other people dying. It's like a decent item to help make like the majority of your team a bit tankier, but it's not like an item that I'm ever like particularly excited to be building. I think I put this item in the top of D, either ahead or behind Halberd. I think I agree with what Gemboy said in that Halberd has some like really specific applications where it can win you the game. So I think for that alone, I just have to probably put Halberd over it. Next we've got Holy Spirit Lance. I think they renamed this to Dragon Lance like last season. I just call this Splitter. I'm sure other people have other names for it. This item's really good. It gives split shot to your ranged units, so they do two additional projectiles to nearby units for I think 30 or 40% of the base damage. So it gives you a net of nearly doubling your damage output on ranged units, which is obviously incredibly good. That being said, I don't think ranged units are nearly as good in the current meta as they have been in the past. I think I'm going to put this in the top of A, but there's definitely been multiple metas where I think this goes into S. Next we got Ice Armor. Ice Armor, I think, no surprise, been the best item in the game for probably, like 6 seasons now. This item's absolutely insane. It gives armor, evasion, which stacks together really, really effectively. It's one of the only sources of spell lifesteal in the game, which is also really, really nice. A lot of people don't even remember or realize that it has that. It has that too. It also has one of the best actives in the game. The active is super, super good. It does a huge AoE magical damage. Magical damage applies at attack speed slow, and it also generates mana for you. So it does a few thousand damage right at the start of the round to your entire opposing team because the radius is massive. You can also try to tag their melee carry with it, so it kind of functions as like a really budget halberd if you don't have a halberd, because you save a couple auto attacks from that. And it's also the fastest way in the game to get mana on a unit. Pretty common to see someone frontline a unit with ice armor, and the unit just immediately casts because the ice armor just instantly gives them full mana. I think for me, this goes in the top of S tier. It's a very, very good item, and you're pretty much never really like that unhappy with making it in almost any build. Infused. It's upgraded Frantic Mask. This item is pretty good. It's one of only a couple ways in the game to do minus armor to an opponent. It gives a lot of attack speed, a lot of lifesteal. In general, this item gets compared a lot to Barbaric or AC. They both require a Wraith Shard to upgrade. Generally, I prefer AC, though there are a couple of applications where I think Infused is better. Like specifically on like things like Dragon Knight, where you need Dragon Knight to still ult. I think Infused is a bit better because the attack speed's really nice, and you still get the minus armor effect. But in general, yeah, I think I prefer AC. So next we've got Kira's Wrath. Kira's Wrath is the newest legendary item. It's been pretty influential on the metagame. It lets you give Kira to any unit that you want, which means that they can get Kira stacks. It also gives a lot of attack speed and a lot of damage. It does come with a downside that your unit takes, I think 4% health is pure damage per second. So you'll probably want to find a way to get some lifesteal to trade off for that downside, but the upside is definitely worth it. And you can pretty much turn any unit you want into a hyper carry with this item. I think this item also goes into the top of S tier. I'm not sure if it's good enough to surpass Ice Armor yet, but it's definitely very, very good. I'd be interested in hearing what chat has to say on this, on if they think that it should go above Ice Armor, but I think this item is incredibly good. Next we've got Mjollnir, the upgraded Maelstrom. I think this item is alright. again, kind of has the thing where it's hard to get attack speed on things like Fallen Witcher or Dragon Knight, the units that want to transform. You can't silence them. It can be hard to get attack speed on items like that without access to Frantic. But I think in general, this item is not great. It doesn't see a ton of play generally. I'm going to go put it into the bottom of C. I think Big Halberd's pretty good. Yeah, I think you guys are right. I think I'll bump up Halberd. I don't think I should put it under Mjollnir. I think I'll bring it up and put it like here for now. Maybe I can put it higher in C. We'll take a look at that at the end. Up next we got Monkey King Kane, or MKC. I think that's the name of the Dota item. I think Halberd is much bigger than Mjollnir. Yeah, I agree. Up next we got MKC. MKC is a pretty situational tech item, but when it's good, it's really, really good. Monkey King Bar in Dota. Yeah, okay. I think this item is solid right now. There's definitely been metas where I think it went higher, but 9 Feathered is not as great right now. I think it's still a good item though, so I think I still put this into B, kind of along with these other just solid items. Next we've got Refresher, or Orb of Refresher. Most people just call this Refresher. You make it with the Orb, the double mana item. It lets your unit cast their ultimate twice back to back. Super good. I think for me, this item goes into the bottom of A. I remember back in like season 1 or season 2, this item was like the best item in the game. It was super, super insane. You could build this item on like round 4. It was insane. But yeah, I mean, I think these other items are a bit better now. The Refresher is a little bit more situational than it used to be. The next we got Origin Wand, I think is what this called. It's the upgraded Pulse Wand, or Pulse Staff. I personally think this item is pretty bad, actually. I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but it scales really, really poorly. You actually lose spell damage upgrading this item currently. Because I think, if I remember correctly, Pulse Staff is 15%, and then the item this combines with is also 15%, and spell damage scales multiplicatively, so it's like actually like 32% or something. But this item only has 25% on it. It is worth mentioning that the active on the ability is a little bit quicker and hits a little bit harder, but I don't really feel like that justifies making it. And we're going to get to this in a second, but I think in nearly every situation you would much rather have the Scythe. For me, I think this item goes into the middle or bottom of B. I really don't like this item. I think maybe you could make an argument for it being the worst legendary in the game. Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna say that this is the worst legendary in the game, because sometimes you just really need the extra lifesteal and you'll build this item, but I really just never build this item. The only time I really ever build this item is when I just need to combine the item for the space on my unit to basically give it a 7th item slot. This item is really, really bad. It's the Frostblaze of items. Yeah, that's a good way to put it for sure. So our last item we've got is Scythe. Scythe of Vyse, I believe. It's the upgraded Voodoo Staff. Scythe gives, I believe, 50% spell damage, and then it also gets a 6-second hex on a random enemy unit. there seems to be some amount of belief that the Hex has some kind of priority system, but regardless, this item is incredibly good. It's the best spell damage that's available on a single item. It also gives really good utility, and the Hex gives you a chance to win fights that you have no business winning. For me, I think this item is like IA. I don't think I want to put this over Splitter, but I think I would put it over Claw Wand and Refresher. I think right there. Let's see. Do we want to move anything around? Sounds like we were hearing some arguments for moving Heart up. I could see that maybe. I think Heart definitely has more applications than Heaven's Gift. I'm debating on if I want to bump it up to like low C and then move, because I don't like, alright, so like I could see moving Heart up to low C, maybe even over Mjollnir. I don't think I want to bump Mjollnir down to D though, because just it has attack speed and does some damage, so like it's just better than these two items in D, just because it's got stats on it that are useful, right? So I think Heart is better than Mjollnir based on the components needed. Yeah, I think I agree. Do I think Halberd, Blink Dagger, or Heart is better? Mjollnir is good because it lets you deal magic damage with a physical comp. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I think this is good. Is there anything else that you guys think needs changed? Also, AoE clear is important versus stupid seer combos with Ogre. Yeah. Alright, so I think we're gonna wrap up this tier list here. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. Drop a sub or a follow if you liked this content. Let me know in the description down below if you think I overrated or underrated anything. And yeah, see you later.